don't forget that we're doing an art giveaway when we reach 3,000 subscribers. The current online climate and state of commissioning others over social media has unfortunately led to it becoming rife with scammers and those who want to steal as much money from you as possible. I've fallen victim to an art scammer in the past, and it's more than likely you or someone you know has been duped by these ludicrous thieves in the past as well. While the most common types of scams may still try to get you to click a suspicious link or send money in ways that void any rights you have as a buyer, the situation that made me want to make this video is a different type of scam that is possibly more detrimental to artists and commissioners alike. Today, I'll be talking about how a rather sizable VTuber has allegedly scammed an artist out of roughly $1,000, how to avoid situations like this in the future as an artist, and the best ways to win your case with PayPal or your bank if this ever happens to you. Hey, hi-yo-ya out there to all my big brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, and of course, mommies, daddies, siblings, and guardians. It's me, your bite-sized baddie and favorite little brother Mark. This all began on April 4th, when Twitter user LaritarPG, or Lara, posted the following thread alleging how she was recently issued a chargeback by a previous client. To all my clients and fellow art friends, Nalia VT filed a chargeback of $676 against me, claiming that the emotes she received were damaged and unusable. She belittled my art and work and refuses to acknowledge the work I did for her, saying that I was lazy, and that I didn't communicate properly, and that it's all my fault that she's not pleased with these final artworks. If you worked with me before, you know I always communicate multiple times and request feedback to ensure that I deliver the best art possible. If you are an artist, you know that you need to establish limits and that you can't keep consenting when clients start requesting endless revisions because they failed to explain themselves and what they wanted from the service provided. This client has been asking me for edits repeatedly and made me recolor and separate layers for the emotes commissioned 3 times already, because every time I sent her the final update, she had a new correction she forgot to mention. Now that I refuse to keep working on a commission delivered on January 13th, since I was not compensated for these edits, I did them as a courtesy to her. I explain on my terms of service that you have a limited amount of corrections. She now claims that my work is lazy, that I didn't deliver the commission, and basically is making me a criminal for not keeping up with the abuse and the unreasonable requests. I delivered the art that was commissioned, and what is criminal is to file a chargeback against me and completely erase all of my hard work and the time I spent on it. But I guess that's to be expected from someone who attacked other artists in the past and complained about their prices. I don't like drama, but unfortunately things have gotten out of hand, and it's important for me to share my experience so other artists might take precautions if they consent to work with someone that might file a chargeback against you on a whim. Lara would go on to elaborate over the next few days that after her first thread, Nalia issued an additional chargeback for a separate set of emotes. If you thought she was over with the first chargeback, wait till you read this. She's now decided to also rob me of $284.59 because, again, she's, quote, unable to use the art, and the sellers stated that they no longer wish to be in contact with me. Does this make sense to you? It was quickly noted by those in the comments of her thread that the chargeback reason being unable to use the art was untrue, showing that Nalia literally had the commissioned emotes uploaded to her Twitch channel for use by her subscribers, meaning those who pay her money through Twitch would be able to use them. The emotes were removed soon after Laura's threads, but allegedly were still up even as the chargeback was issued. Laura elaborated which emotes came from which invoice in a later thread, and described a third chargeback issued to her. I want to clarify some things since it's been a lot of questioning about what exactly was included in the chargeback. I didn't plan to spend another day revising this because I'd already lost a week's work dealing with PayPal and the client's actions. But here we go. On January 1st, I got 3 requests from Nalia that were combined into 3 different invoices. I was excited to work with this person because she always had been kind to me and returned a lot of times to hire me for work. I even shared this on my WhatsApp because I felt appreciated and grateful with life. Invoice 1 included Discord stickers for the first 15 emotes I did for her between 2021 and 2022. Since she had been a returning client, I offered not only the stickers, but the original size emotes without adding an extra fee. Additionally, she wanted outfit edits for the emotes commissioned in 2023, the set with the shrimp, and a layer separation for the wave emote. This makes for 17 emotes/stickers. Invoice number 2 included 10 emote designs, 10 stickers, and 3 layer separations. Invoice number 3 was requested after I sent the sketches for 2 more layer separations and the sketch of a new emote. Invoice 2 and 3 includes 11 emotes and stickers. I did not receive a chargeback for the 2021 emotes because the payment was made through Fiverr a long time ago, but I did receive it for sending an updated version of the files sent in 2021 or 2022 that made up for Discord stickers and the original sized artwork. By the 11th of April, meaning the situation was ongoing for an entire week at this point, Laura showed a screenshot sent to her from Nalia's server, where she claims that Laura actually scammed her out of $900 and that she would be putting them up for her community to use for free. How generous of her. I'm unsure of in what world sending the emotes that were ordered and having them available for use on Twitch is counted as scamming, in all honesty. In my most charitable reading, I would have to say that context from Nalia's side is missing, and that there was a miscommunication or perhaps something that was left out of Laura's threads. Was Nalia forbidden from using the art? Was something said behind the scenes that we don't know? We're entirely unsure, but this situation seems entirely unreasonable from the current information available to the public. Laura updated again on the 11th, stating that Nalia has, and I bet you can't guess what I'm gonna say next, issued a yet 4th chargeback and encouraged others to go ahead and block her. The next day, more messages from Nalia's server were leaked that seemed to imply she was supporting the idea of Laura being physically harmed for her threads and fighting the chargebacks. But again, bear in mind that these are taken and shown with very little context. So, with all of that being said, who is Nalia? Though she's not streamed since the start of April, amidst this, she's a VTuber and Twitch partner with nearly 17k followers, and clearly an avid fan base. She was backed by the talent management group Mythic Talent before these allegations came about, but it looks like she may have either been dropped or taken off of their public page, as she can no longer be found under their VTuber creators page, and her link on Google is now dead. Other than that, Nalia was recently in hot water on Twitter, once again, for this questionable take mentioned earlier by Laura. Model and rigging artists realize that nowadays they can get away with overcharging prices like that. Prices weren't always that high. In 2019, when I started, most high-quality models were around $250, and even this was already very expensive in my opinion. But then, as more and more VTubers became famous and successful, they knew they could also benefit from that by increasing their prices more and more. Big and famous VTubers were willing to pay huge amounts of money since they earn huge amounts of money per month. That's basically it. And don't listen to people who are like, but they worked on this avatar for 15 months. That's all bullshit. While everyone is certainly entitled to their own opinions, this one shared here makes it all the more believable that she would issue $1,000 worth of chargebacks just because she had an issue with her artist. This situation is a terrifying one to be in. $1,000 is an incredible amount of money for anyone, let alone an artist who earns their income through commissions. This much money could be the difference between making rent or losing your apartment. This much money is the difference between making a car payment or having it repossessed, or going into debt to keep your mode of transportation. This much money could buy groceries for a family of 4 for a month if you budget right. And it was charged back seemingly in retaliation for Laura standing her ground by her terms of service and sharing her story. So, let me try and give you some methods to try and keep this from happening to anyone else, as well as the best methods I know of to help win against a claim like this with PayPal. Number 1, always get payment upfront. Never start work before you've been paid at least in part for a commission, because it is far too easy to just cut and run without paying in this day and age. The authorities will likely not help you get paid your $70 commission if someone just refuses to pay it, and most artists do not have the ability to take something to small claims court if it's even worth that much. It's more trouble than it's worth, and that's what a lot of these scammers bank on. Number 2, choose your clients wisely. It is never your fault if someone tries to scam you, but I would suggest keeping an eye out for people you cannot vet the identity of, or who have a just sordid online identity. Do not trust anyone to have your best interests in mind online. IRL friends? Sure, people you've known for years, 100%, but even people you thought you knew well can get weird when money is involved. I made this mistake myself once before and made commissions for someone who I'd seen a few times in my Twitch chats, but otherwise didn't know at all. They ended up being a very bad person, and I regret having my name attached to them in any way, shape, or form. While they were actively hiding their identity and morals from me to get me to make art for them, and Nalia is an internet micro-celebrity that you have no reason to suspect would scam you like this, there were red flags that both I and Laura missed out on or overlooked. A cagey attitude when questions are asked, and publicly expressing their poor opinion of artists charging for their work are two major ones that you should be on the lookout for when accepting a client. I know that not everyone can afford to choose their clientele like that, however, which leads me to number 3. Document every conversation you have. This may sound nutty, but hear me out. You never know what someone may try to use against you or how they may frame it if they decide they want to do you dirty. If someone comes into your DMs asking for a commission, accusing you of doing something weird out of the blue, or seems to be asking you weird leading questions, document all of it. You never have to post them publicly, and honestly, probably shouldn't unless needed. And you also don't need to hold on to them forever. But you never know when you may need to prove or disprove something that happened to your money service provider. Having conversations already logged is a great way to help in that. It's in part how I was able to get my money back from PayPal when I was scammed. It's a two-way street for artists and clients. Number 4, similarly, but worth separating into its own thing, get agreements in writing that cannot be altered. Messaging over Discord can be edited both in-app on the sender side and with Inspect Element at any time by anyone. Using an app that does not let messages be removed or changed so easily is always a good thing if you're doing business with someone unfamiliar or that you feel may be untrustworthy. If you can't do that, just refer back to number 3. Number 5. Show progress as you go. I highly recommend you cover your work in progress pictures in obnoxiously busy watermarks when sending to prevent someone from just taking the work in progress and sending it into AI. But making sure that there is a tangible trail of you showing progress of your work is incredibly important. If you never show your client anything, they may 1. Lose faith in you, and 2. Believe that since they haven't seen anything that you haven't worked on it, and may be more likely to issue a chargeback. They also may use that as a convenient excuse when trying to scam you. This protects you from any lies a scammer may tell by saying, "They took my money and didn't give me anything," because you'll have a handy-dandy dated record of you showing your progress and that you've been working on it. Number 6. Don't take on more work than you can finish. With all of the above being said, it is very important to not take on so many commissions at once that you have a never-ending backlog of art, or that it will take half a year to finish one commission. We've seen popular artists time and time again get in trouble for taking money and never giving anything in return. And it is, unfortunately, an easy pit to fall into. If you do have long wait times, it is very very important to make that clear to your clients and have a place where anyone can publicly see your queue if you want to avoid any potential issues.
Number 7.
Have strict terms of service. I know that Nalia ignored Laura's terms of service in this case, but it's still an important step to take. Make sure that they outline your do's and don'ts, as well as what ways a client may use a commissioned work and what your standards for revisions and refunds are. As long as your terms are clearly stated, that is another piece of evidence that you can give to the bank or PayPal to show that the chargeback someone has issued is fraudulent. Number 8. Contracts are great, but hold little weight if not actually legally binding. Having someone sign their legal name on a document may hold them by societal convention and make it less likely for them to try scamming you, but it's not foolproof, and people renege on poorly written contracts or ones that legally can't be upheld all of the time. However, they are yet another good piece of evidence to have in your corner that someone at least agreed that they read and understood your terms of service. Just know that if things actually did ever go to court, unless properly notarized and worded very professionally, it likely wouldn't hold up the best or be enforceable. Number 9. Back things up with the Wayback Machine. Someone may claim that your terms of service were updated after they commissioned you and that they never agreed to them. That's why each time you update your terms of service, you should use a service like the Wayback Machine to archive it. That way, you can easily show what date it was last edited, when the client agreed to it, and prove whether or not they're lying. Finally, number 10. Make sure to do your work. I know this is obvious, but just do what you've been paid to and don't make promises you can't or do not intend to keep. I've had issues where I bit off and promised more than I could give, and in the end, it wound up hurting my business and personal relationships. You don't want to wind up with videos dedicated to you being a scammer or entire Tumblr blogs dedicated to calling you out on never delivering on commissions. So just make sure to do what you can and communicate with your customers. If you're having a hard time, let them know things may be slower. Sure, you'll have a few people just not having it, but most of the time, humans are understanding of one another and will cut you some slack. I know I'd always prefer to be told, hey, I was in an accident and won't be able to work on your art until XYZ date, than just being ghosted. Now, none of these are foolproof, and I'm not a law professional, but these are tips that I've seen help others and have helped me in the past. Use your best judgment when accepting commissions, use your best judgment if you ever find yourself in an issue like this, and use your best judgment moving forward. What do you think, though? Do you have any idea on how to prevent people from scamming you? And have you ever experienced a scam like this? Make sure to go and give Laura your support. I'm sure she'd appreciate it a whole lot. Just like how I appreciate you for getting to the end of the video, and my Patreon supporters for their care. At our brother, sibling, sister tier, we have Viri, Miss Mercuriel, Minnow, Echo Astro, and Ash Valentine. At our mommies, daddies, and guardians tier, we have Mary, Kiryu Mikoto, and our very newest Patreon supporter, Kai. And at our gods, goddesses, and deities tier, we have gods and punks. Thank you all very much for getting to the end of this video. I'm at a convention right now, so I will not be here immediately, so I hope you like it. Don't go too hog wild in the comments. And I hope you have a scrab-dangulous day. Bye-bye. Sorry if you hear any grumbling in the background. That's my tummy. I'm really hungry this morning.